Financial confidence is one of those things people don't talk about often, but it quietly shapes almost every decision we make. I'm not talking about being loud or flashy with your money or knowing every rule or strategy. I'm talking about the calm, grounded confidence that comes from understanding your numbers and trusting yourself to make decisions with them. After years of coaching women with their finances, I've learned that it's rarely a lack of intelligence or income holding people back. It's a lack of confidence. And when confidence is missing, everything feels heavier than it needs to be. In this episode, I'm sharing 6 reasons why financial confidence is the key to changing your life and how you can start improving yours. Reason number 1. Financial confidence replaces fear with clarity. When you don't feel confident with your money, fear steps in and really fills in the gaps. It could be a fear of making the wrong decision, a fear of checking your bank account, especially when you know you've been overspending, a fear of committing to a plan because you're worried you'll mess it up. Usually, the result is never as bad as the fear makes it seem. But when you have financial confidence, it doesn't mean that the fear disappears. I don't think we can ever really get rid of fear. It just means that fear no longer runs the show. Fear isn't driving your action or inaction. Confidence allows you to say, I know where I stand, I understand my options, and I can adjust if something changes. And not only do you say that, you believe it, and your actions reflect it. I think that clarity alone brings a sense of calm that changes how you approach your money and your life ultimately. So it really starts with choosing logic over emotion. Logically, you understand and know you need to do something. You choose that thought over the thought that avoiding everything will make you feel better. You actually move forward with confidence, even if you're still a little scared, even if you still have some nervousness in you, you know that taking action, moving into the unknown, is going to get you a better result than staying scared, staying where you are, and staying in that emotion. Reason number 2, financial confidence is built through action, not knowing everything. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about confidence is that it comes from having all the answers. I know this isn't true because there was a time in my life where I didn't feel financially confident at all, especially when I decided it was time to finally face my debt. I was in my early 20s and I didn't know about payoff strategies. I hadn't heard of Dave Ramsey and I didn't have a spreadsheet or a system. This was way before City Girl Savings came to be. This was, back in a time where financial education wasn't talked about as much as it's talked about now. But regardless of all of that, at the time, what I did know was that my spending decisions had led me to this place where I was, which was having tens of thousands of dollars in debt and nearly being evicted from my Los Angeles apartment. That was definitely my wake-up call, and I've talked about that before on the podcast, but I remember sitting at my desk in my first corporate job after college, and I remember opening the Notepad app on the computer, and I listed my income, I listed my bills and my basic expenses, and whatever was left after that, which, if I'm being honest, wasn't much, went to debt. That was my system. That was how I started to build confidence in myself when it came to managing my money. That was the first step I took to, get myself out of the position I had put myself in with debt. It was not perfect, but every time I updated my list, every time a new pay period came and I changed my numbers, my confidence grew. And Confidence didn't come from knowing more, it came from doing something. I could have done a lot of things differently and probably better, especially with all the information that's out there now, but at least I did something. And actually taking that action was what really helped me feel confident. It came from making that mental shift that doing something is better than doing nothing, no matter how big and how scary and how far away the end result felt. Okay, reason number three, financial confidence changes how you see yourself. When you don't trust yourself with money, it quietly erodes your self image. It eats away at you. You start telling yourself stories like, I'm just bad with money, or I'll never get this right, or one that I've heard so many women say, I'll die with debt. Almost like it is what it is. It's a part of my life. I'm accepting it, and that's that. But when you start making intentional financial decisions, even small ones, even very small ones, those stories that you're telling yourself begin to shift. Those beliefs that have really been holding you back start to appear as false narratives. You recognize them as limiting beliefs. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's failing and can't figure it out. And you start seeing yourself as someone who is capable and responsible and in control because you are. You are in full control. That identity shift doesn't just impact your bank account. Let me tell you, it totally changes how you show up in your career, in your relationships, and in your goals. And trust me, I'm speaking from experience here. Learning how to manage my money gave me so much confidence, which translated into so many other areas in my life. Um, Check out episode 141, How Managing My Money Has Boosted My Confidence, for my story on improving my financial confidence and what ultimately changed for me. I go even deeper into the personal side of how that impacted my confidence. Okay, reason number four, financial confidence creates momentum. Confidence builds on itself. One good decision leads to another. One honest check in leads to consistency. One action leads to another action. 1 month of follow through leads to belief. This is why motivation is overrated and why momentum matters so much more. Financial confidence fuels that momentum and it keeps you moving forward. Even on the days when you really don't feel inspired, when you really just want to, get a Starbucks, when you really just want to say screw it and just go get a whole new wardrobe, your momentum and the actions that you've been taking are going to keep you going when the motivation fades. And it does, it always fades. Your results and consistency tell you that things are moving, tell you that you're making progress. And that feels too good to give up on. The more momentum you build, the easier it becomes for you to stay engaged with your money instead of avoiding it. So, as you're taking steps, as you're seeing results, again, even small ones, as you're moving in the direction of where you want to go, your financial confidence is going to grow as a result. And that creates momentum for you to keep doing what you've been doing. Isn't that funny how it's all connected? It's like inaction depletes your confidence and therefore there is no momentum. But on the flip side, action builds your confidence and builds that momentum so you can keep going and keep doing what you need to do. Okay, reason number five, financial confidence allows you to think long term. When you don't feel confident with your money, everything feels urgent. Everything feels like a fire drill. Everything feels so important. Every decision becomes reactive. You are focused on what's happening right now, this bill, this expense, this setback, this paycheck, and it becomes almost impossible to think beyond the present moment. Financial confidence changes that. It creates enough mental and emotional space for you to lift your head up, like get yourself out of this present reactive situation and actually consider your future self. You start asking different questions like what you want your life to look like 5, 10, or even 20 years from now, and whether your current money choices are helping or hurting that vision. I think one of the biggest shifts I've seen both personally with myself and with my clients is when you stop letting YOLO drive your spending decisions and you start accommodating your future self, amazing things happen, right? Like we stop, putting present us as the focus and we start putting future us as the focus. Now, that doesn't mean you stop enjoying your life in the present. It just means you become more intentional with your actions and how your future self has to deal with the ramifications of those actions. So, when you realize that your future and what you want your future to look like is, and you compare it to where you are now, you begin to see money decisions less as sacrifices and more as investments in the life you ultimately want to live. Delayed gratification becomes easier. And that's not because you're depriving yourself, but because you are choosing something bigger. That present thing that you want right now is not something your future self even wants or even cares about. So you learn to say no to your present self so you can say yes to your future self. Financial confidence allows you to just pause, think long term, and make decisions that support both your present life and your future peace. That's game changing. And the more you can do that, the more financially confident you're going to feel. Okay, reason number 6, financial confidence puts you back in the driver's seat. At its core, financial confidence is about knowing that you are not stuck. Even if you don't love where you are right now, you are not stuck. You can change it. When you feel confident with your money, you stop feeling like life is just happening to you and you start recognizing that you have choices. You can adjust. You can pivot. You can respond instead of react. And I feel like that shift alone is incredibly empowering, especially for women. When you trust yourself with money, you move through the world differently. You're less likely to panic when something unexpected comes up because you know how to assess your options. You know that you have options. You're more willing to make intentional changes, whether that looks like setting a boundary, pursuing a goal, or saying no to something that doesn't align because you understand the role your money plays in supporting your life. Financial confidence does not mean that you'll never face challenges, okay? Like we can't escape that. Things will always come up. There will always be challenges, but it means that you face those challenges knowing that you have the ability to handle what comes next. And that feeling, being firmly in the driver's seat of your financial life and your dream life, has the power to change everything. Now, I want to say this gently, but honestly. If you've been listening to this episode or episodes like this, consuming personal finance content, but you still feel unsure or stuck when it comes to your money, that's not a personal failure, okay? That tells you something. Awareness alone doesn't always create confidence. Action does. And sometimes guided action is what makes the difference. You are worthy of financial confidence. You are worthy of clarity, and you are worthy of seeing real results, not just understanding what you should be doing, right? Like you may know what to do, you may know the steps you need to take to get where you want to go, but you're worthy of actually taking those steps. Sometimes the most powerful decision you can make isn't to try harder, it's to choose support. And if you are ready to feel confident with your money and you don't want to figure it out on your own, I invite you to book a free call with me. And that call isn't about being judged or fixed. There's no judgment in City Girl Savings. That call is a space to talk through where you are, identify what's keeping you stuck, and decide what support would actually move you forward. Because, as you've learned today, you don't need more motivation. You need a plan, you need accountability, and you need guidance that meets you where you are. And that's exactly what coaching is designed to provide. And that's where financial confidence builds.